I need more of a heads up than this. I would have done it, but I'm feeling very small tonight. You're like
You good?
Could I ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start this evening's meeting. First of all, thank you everyone for being here and joining us. We'll start this evening's meeting with the approval of minutes of prior sessions. Can I have a motion to approve the business meeting budget workshop number 1, minutes of December 8th, 2016? Motion by Mrs. Freed, seconded by Mrs. Weiss. All in favor? 4, opposed, abstentions, 1. Mrs. Montalito, 401. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the working session budget work session number 2 of January 12th, 2011? Motion by Mrs. Weiss, seconded by Mr. Tomio. All in favor? 5-0. The next agenda item is commendations. I will turn it over to Dr. Bossert for commendations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lumena. It gives me great pleasure to have a wonderful assembly of students tonight that have had some tremendous accomplishments at John Glenn High School. And to help recognize them this evening, I'd like to first call upon our high school principal, Mrs. Brzezinski.
Good evening, Dr. Bossert, District Administration, members of the Board of Education, and the Elwood community. Tonight, I have the distinct pleasure and opportunity to highlight 6 of our exceptional students of John Glenn High School for their achievements on the PSAT, which, for those of you who do not know, is also a national merit qualifying test. The National Merit Scholarship selects those students who earn the highest index scores, which is calculated by doubling the sum of the reading, writing, and language and math test scores on the PSAT to qualify for recognition of the National Merit Scholarship Program. Out of 1.6 million students who take the PSAT, approximately 34,000 of them earn the distinction as a commended student. Our first commended student is Justin Yoskowitz. Aside from earning this tremendous accomplishment, Justin is a young man with a variety of interests. His favorite, however, is science, and he will be pursuing this as his major. He is a very bright young man, attaining an overall average of 95.5. He will graduate with a New York State Advanced Regents Diploma with Mastery in Math and Science. In addition, he will graduate with the highest distinction of Summa Cum Laude this June. Justin has applied to SUNY Stony Brook, College of William & Mary, Michigan State, Duke University, and UNC Chapel Hill, just to name a few. Congratulations, Justin. next commended student is Derek Lee. Derek Lee is pursuing a pre-med major. He is a volunteer at Stony Brook Hospital, a youth praise team leader, president of the National Honor Society, the treasurer for Habitat for Humanity, the president of Mathletes, founder of the famous table tennis club, has conducted an internship at Cold Spring Harbor DNA Lab, and is the captain of the varsity tennis team. Christopher Kwan is also a commended student. He is pursuing a career in the field of engineering and computer science. He is well-rounded and involved in many things at John Glenn High School. Among the many, he is a member of the stage group, is the captain of the Science Olympiad team, member of the Chamber Choir, National Honor Society, and president of the Christian Club. Catherine McPherson is our last commended student. She is a dynamic and passionate young lady. She is a freshman buddies mentor, member of the National Honor Society, vice president of student council, a natural helper, captain of Knowledge Masters, a mathlete, and most impressive, managed to write a fantastic article about the new building principal. She is very smart, witty, and insightful. Congratulations. As one of 4 students who received this distinction at John Glenn High School, you all make us incredibly proud. Congratulations on this well-deserved accomplishment. It is a true testament of your hard work and perseverance. You are to be commended for your excellent performance on the PSAT. You are among, again, 34,000 commended students nationwide who have shown exceptional academic promise, and your performance on this test and throughout your high school career is a credit to you, your parents, and the faculty and staff at John Glenn High School. Thank you.
If I could ask Ms. Brzezinski to join us for a picture, perhaps Mrs. Floyd, you care to join us as well? And Superintendent, you can let us know.
You're good.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
So out of the 1.6 million students who take the PSAT, only 16,000 are named as semifinalists, and 2 of our students have achieved this impressive accomplishment. According to the National Merit Scholarship Corporation, to ensure that academically talented young people from all parts of the United States are included in this talent pool, semifinalists are designated on a state representational basis. They are the highest scoring entrants in each state. It is a tremendous accolade to be ranked among the highest performing students in the state. Most notable is that they were one of 2 John H. Glenn students to earn this recognition of outstanding achievement. As a result of this great accomplishment, they now have the opportunity to continue in the competition for some 7,500 National Merit Scholarships worth about $33 million that will be offered next spring. I am pleased to present to you one of our National Merit Scholarship semifinalists, David Herman. David will be pursuing a major in physics and software engineering. He too is the co-founder of the famous table tennis club. He's a member of the Italian Club, Science Olympiads, Knowledge Masters, Mathletes, National Honor Society. He's a freshman buddy member and member of the varsity tennis team. David Herman, sorry. Pardon the confusion, because our second semi-finalist is his brother, Michael Hermans. Michael is pursuing a major in business. He's a member of our Science Olympiad team, Knowledge Masters, Math Leads, World Language Honor Society, and on the cross-country team. Both brothers can continue in this competition by filling out an application to compete for the finalist or winner. This is based on their coursework, an essay, their extracurricular activities, and may the best or both Herman brothers win. On behalf of Mr. Cole, Mr. Gordon, and myself, we thank you for serving as role models for the students of Elwood. Congratulations on earning this prestigious recognition.
And as we close with the photo opportunity, for our underclassmen currently with us tonight, please note that the key to success is clearly ping pong. If you picked up your paddle, please do so very soon. I have to stand up tall.
Congratulations.
At this time, to continue our recognition this evening, I'd like to call upon our Director of Physical Education, Health, and Athletics, Mr. Shanahan.
I'd like to take a moment to recognize you guys. Outstanding achievement for your parents and for yourselves. Keep it rolling. Congratulations again. Thank you, Dr. Boston and Board of Education, for allowing me to recognize Stephanie Tangaris. Stephanie, come on up. I'd like to welcome the Tangaris family, George and Jody. Tonight, we have a couple of pieces of great news to share with you. First, for the second time in 2 years, Stephanie has been selected all-state girls soccer team. Congratulations. She's all county. She's been selected by the New York State Sports Writers, which is very hard to do. And I think the greatest piece of news for us is she's only a junior. She'll be coming back next year. So for her opponents, watch out. 3 times all-state. I wish you the best of luck for that next year too. So again, congratulations for all-state. In other news, I'd like to also congratulate Stephanie because she was part of the League 5 Championship Girls Winter Track Team. This past Saturday, for the first time ever in school history, our girls are champions of League 5. That's a wonderful honor.
Thank you.
Stephanie runs the 55. What else?
High jump, and I run like 4x2 relay.
She does soccer in the fall, winter track, and spring track. Thank you. That was a hard one. Sorry about that. Congratulations to Coach Burke. And lastly, I'd like to finish up with another one of our students that had a tremendous weekend. Damian Caffrey finished first in the Eastern States at the 220-pound weight class, which is a tremendous honor. We will recognize Damian later in the year, but however, I did want to mention, also this Wednesday, Damian Caffrey will be signing his national letter of intent to attend LIU Post on Wednesday at the high school. So Damian's a scholarship athlete in football. He's also probably could be a scholarship athlete in wrestling. So again, congratulations to the Tangaris family. Stephanie, your older sister cannot be here tonight. Victoria, she plays lacrosse at Albany, correct?
Yeah.
So again, congratulations.
Mr. Shanahan, if you would mind.
One, two, three.
Just while we have everyone's focus and attention, I would just like to offer my congratulations to Coach Shanahan, who had some personal wonderful news cross his desk this week as his daughter made a verbal commitment to play Division I lacrosse at Notre Dame University. much better than that. Congratulations to you and your family, David.
We're gonna talk, that's great. Excellent.
If it pleases the board, I do have one other item for recognition that does appear on the agenda. We are a participant in SCOPE, which is the Suffolk County Organization for the Promotion of Education. SCOPE does a lot of support work that benefits what we do here as a district, whether it's offering affordable childcare, pre-K, professional development for teachers, technology training, things like that. We have been active participants in SCOPE for some time. And one of the things that SCOPE does on a yearly basis is they hold an awards dinner that recognizes individuals for outstanding contributions to education throughout the year. So SCOPE gave us the opportunity to nominate some individuals from within our school district for recognition at their annual dinner. And I'm very pleased to say that a number of our nominees were selected by SCOPE to be honored on that day and time. So I would just like to share that good news, and they'll be receiving letters of invitation to the awards dinner. It's a nice banquet held at Villa Lombardi's. Plaques, speeches, the whole shebang. About 1,000 people tend to come, representing Suffolk County and parts of Nassau. And for dedication to administration, this year SCOPE will be organizing our high school assistant principal, Mr. Cole, and we're very proud of that. For dedication as a member of the support staff, the superintendent's secretary, Mrs. Nancy Barcosi, will be honored by SCOPE, and we're very proud of her. For dedication to the teaching profession, our elementary art teacher, Mr. David Heiss, will be recognized by SCOPE. For dedication to community service, our current high school PTSA president, Mrs. Terry Zenobio, will be recognized by SCOPE. And as nominated by his fellow board members for service to the Board of Education, Mr. Michael Lamena will be recognized by SCOPE. So, Mr. Lamena, congratulations on behalf of the board, myself, and SCOPE. And here is your invitation to please attend the awards dinner that we hope fits into your schedule. And congratulations.
Thank you, that's very kind. Thank you.
And that will do it for commendations this evening.
All right, excellent. It's always excellent to see all the individuals within the Elwood district doing so well, in the classroom, in the athletic arena. I think it's a great part of our board meetings to continue to incorporate commendations, because it reminds us all about the tangible success of our students, which is our focus. With that, I'd like to shift to Mr. Tomio for board recognition of donations.
Just tell me if I may before you do that.
Yeah.
I know that a number of our students who are here with us tonight for recognition have assessments and things like that tomorrow and other obligations this evening. If you would like to politely excuse yourself at this time, that would be perfectly appropriate.
Congratulations.
Thank you for that. You can all watch from home, we're live streaming.
We have numerous donations this evening that the board will accept later this evening. So I want to thank everybody for the donations up front. Without these donations, a lot of the events, activities, and clubs wouldn't be able to happen, so thank you guys very much. We have donations from the Elwood Booster Club. $1,053 to fund the robotics club at James H. Board Intermediate School through June 2017. $6,300 to fund the Mathematics, Robotics, and ESL Homework Club at the Elwood Middle School through June 2017. $120 toward funding the STEAM program. $2,106 to fund the ESL Homework Club at James H. Boyd through 2017. $1,053 to fund Crazy Eights Math Club at Harley Avenue Primary School through 2017. We also have donations from the Elwood SEPTA. Those donations are as follows: $528 to fund the Winter Crafty Kids Club, and $500 to fund SEPTA Friendship Club at Harley Avenue Primary School. We have a donation from the Elwood Middle School PTA of $75 toward funding the STEAM program, We have Mr. Bill Rom's donation of a tread sled by Rogers Athletics Company, an estimated value of $6,000 for the Elwood Athletics Department. A donation of $1,137.56, $160.28, and $22.73 to fund the Barbara Quigley Memorial Fund. So as of yesterday, there was additional donations made to the GoFundMe page, so I'm sure in the future we'll be seeing more donations for her memorial fund. We had a donation from James H. Boyd PTA for $500 toward funding the STEAM program. And last, the John H. Glenn Football Alumni Association for the donation of $3,106.90 to fund the expenses associated with the equipment, the lift equipment rentals. Once again, thank you everybody for your donations.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tomio. Again, tremendous generosity from multiple constituencies within the Elwood community. I'd like to move now to our student liaison update from Mr. Matthew Weiss.
Hello everyone, good evening, community, good evening, boy, morning, mom.
We have 3 members at home, so if I have to use it, you have to use it.
So the high school has been very busy, as you guys know, and that's just a taste of the students that we have at John Glenn High School. After winter break, we've had a lot of exciting stuff. We had our high school senior volleyball tournament where all the seniors came down for a day and participated in a nice tournament just to bring a nice senior class vibe. We also had our holiday band concerts where the orchestra, chorus, and band all performed for our parents. The music department went on a great trip to Universal in Florida for a weekend, just a past weekend, and they had a lot of fun. We also have a superintendent meeting with Dr. Bossert with a lot of the seniors, and we all enjoyed it, so thank you, Dr. Bossert. We had a shared decision making committee to discuss a lot of future plans for the high school and how we can make our school better for all students for generations to come. We also had our first high school orientation for upcoming 8th graders, so they got a taste of what kind of curriculum we have at the high school and also the different programs, and I got to speak to them about what it's like being a senior and just to talk about my experience as a high schooler. I know mom's laughing.
They should ask the parent.
As Mr. Shanahan said, we had a lot of great success on the fields. We had a wrestler, Damian Caffrey, he won Eastern States. It's a very big thing, and wrestlers who win that event usually go on to huge schools and wrestle very competitively, so that's amazing. Our girls track team won leagues for the first time ever, so that is also amazing. We had National Merit Scholars, as you all met, and those are amazing students. I know every one of them, and they're both smart, and they are awesome, so thank you for them. Next upcoming events, we have Mr. Glenn next Friday. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Glenn is an event held by the seniors, and that's where senior boys go and make fun of themselves, and we just laugh and have a great time. Come down, support me, I will be in it with a lot of my friends. It'll be a lot of fun. We have a college information night on January 31st, and that is for parents of sophomore and junior class, where they can go down and listen to several advisors talk about the upcoming process that they're about to take and steps for financial aid. We also have our high school junior and senior fashion show, and that is on February 8th, and that's where the junior and senior class host a fashion show at the high school where they just show off either tuxes, dresses, or formal wear, and it's a great night for both the junior and senior classes. Also, we have an orchestra exchange concert on February 15th and 16th, and it's where the orchestra takes place with an event with other schools, and another school comes in and they just play a couple songs, and that's all I have for you tonight. Also, one more thing, the high school is having a musical of Grease, and it's March 3rd, 4th, and 4th at 7 p.m. So please come and support the high school. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matthew. As always, informative, high energy, and very articulate. The next item will be an update from the superintendent. I think there's a specific item that he would like to cover under item G in his superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Lemena, and Matthew, may I add, you also look very dapper this evening. Thank you for that. I would like to share with the board, Mrs. Wilkinson, our Executive Director of Special Education, is absent from the board meeting this evening. This is not a HIPAA violation, as she gave me permission to share that her husband had a hip replacement surgery earlier today, and she wanted to be by his side, but it expresses her regrets to the board and the community, so I did want to share that on Diane's behalf. Another issue that has had a lot of discussion in educational circles over the last few weeks is the President's recommendation for the Secretary of Education. There have been lots of questions surrounding the potential appointment of Betsy DeVos as the new Secretary of Education, replacing John King. A lot of concerns about her level of experience, level of knowledge to attain this very high and influential position in our government have been raised. Many residents, many members of the school district, employees, staff, administration, have appealed to myself and the board to make some type of statement, pass some type of resolution, or bring some attention to this issue that we feel would reflect the Elwood school community's opinion, or at least the board's position on this issue. So Mr. Lemena and I sat down and we crafted what we think is the right action to take. For those members of the community that aren't aware, the way that a cabinet level position is approved at the federal level is with the state senators giving approval for those nominations made by the president. So our two New York State senators, Senators Schumer and Gillibrand, will be voting in favor or not in favor of Betsy DeVos's appointment to this position. So what I felt the correct action for the board and the administration to take would be to express our opinion to those two individuals who will have some say on whether or not this appointment takes place. So if it pleases the board, I would like to share the letter that Mr. Lemena and I crafted at this time with the board and the community.
Any objections? No, please proceed.
Okay. Dear Senator Schumer and Senator Gillibrand, on behalf of the entire Elwood Board of Education Administration, we are writing to express our opposition to the appointment of Betsy DeVos as our country's next Secretary of Education. As other school districts on Long Island have also conveyed, we believe that Ms. DeVos' lack of basic qualifications needed to lead the nation's public education system. Ms. DeVos' confirmation hearing revealed that she lacks the basic understanding of key educational issues such as IDEA, how to assess student performance, and the debate between student growth and proficiency. She has never attended a public school, her own children did not attend public schools, and her experience in education only stems from lobbying for charter schools, vouchers, and privatization. Furthermore, Ms. DeVos has no experience with the student loan system or management of higher education. How can someone with this lack of educational background effectively lead our public educational system? For these reasons, we oppose the confirmation of Ms. DeVos as Secretary of Education. We believe that our next Secretary of Education should be an advocate for public education and all the benefits it provides to its students. In Elwood, we pride ourselves on the rich offerings our children have access to, including a challenging curriculum, a diverse range of opportunities in the arts and athletics, and multiple avenues for engaging in community service. A high percentage of our graduates move on to continue their education at post-secondary institutions. The Elwood Union Free School District is evidence that public school systems can be successful. We need a leader who will not only support this notion, but who will continue to advocate for the needs of our students moving forward. We hope you will join us in our opposition to the appointment of Ms. DeVos. Thank you for your consideration and for your continued support of public school districts across Long Island and New York State. Now, with the consent of the board, we will add our signatures. We will put this in the morning mail, and I would like to post this letter to the district website so that our community knows our full position.
Is everyone in support?
Absolutely.
Unanimous support.
So let it be done. Thank you for your support, and we will hope for positive outcomes.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Bossert. Anything else in terms of superintendent update, or should we move to our first residents' remarks?
That is it for me this evening.
All right, I'd like to open it up to residents' remarks. The board encourages all residents to attend its meetings, and this section of our agenda affords them the opportunity to speak. Persons wishing to speak should identify themselves and any organization they represent at the meeting. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and may not exceed 3 minutes, consistent with board policy 2351. I will keep the clock here and give you a high sign when you're getting close to that 3-minute time frame. Public discussion of matters related to staff, students, or others at which their reputations, privacy, or right to due process could be in some way violated is strictly prohibited. With that, I'll open it up to our residents' remarks.
Here's a microphone. We can hear you, it's the folks at home.
Hi.
If you could just introduce
Hi,
yourself.
my name is Sarah Spinky, this is Michelle, and we were just looking at the draft for the calendar, so can we make our remarks for that? or-
Absolutely.
Okay, so we just saw the draft of the calendar, and we're very happy to see that you have put Eid al-Fitr as a day off for the school, and we're really happy to see that. So.
Just a little speech, you can sign if you want. So, I'm lost for words, I really am. We thank you humbly from the bottom of our hearts for making Eid as an official holiday for the Elwood School District. Acceptance is diversity, and Elwood has surely proven that. And I know we will continue to promote a culture of acceptance and diversity in the Elwood community together. Thank you humbly once again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Are there any other residents' remarks? Okay, seeing none, I'd like to request a motion to actually change the order of item I, presentations, and item J, discussion items. One of the discussion items that we plan to review is school calendar. So if I could get a motion to allow us to do item J, discussion items, to precede I, presentations. I think that'll give us an opportunity to continue this discussion with context. Motion by Mrs. Freed, second by Mrs. Monlito, all in favor? 5-0. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Bossert for discussion items, specifically to review school calendar.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity the board has afforded to have some discussion about the 17-18 calendar. It's a typical action item for boards to adopt the operating calendar around this time of school year. I think that parents and community members appreciating having that advance notice so they can begin to plan their own personal business and things of that nature around the calendar. This shouldn't be confused with our activities calendar, which is planned later in the year, which is all of the events that will take place and all the special occasions. There was a lot of discussion that surrounded the planning of this year's calendar because, rightfully so, some members of the community, many of whom are present tonight, raised the question to the board for consideration. And the board and the administration had to give very careful consideration to the request. And I just want to take the community and the board through that a bit because I think it's important to talk about the factors that led to the decision that is being recommended. The board hasn't adopted the calendar yet. We anticipate that will happen later in the agenda. There are two things at play. The first is what our public remarks just alluded to. The board absolutely wants to be respectful and reflective of all members of our community to make sure that our school governance is responsive to all belief systems, all customs, and all traditions representing all of our residents. And I think that this action clearly demonstrates that. The other half of the question was the more difficult piece. When we initially spoke about the calendar, the board expressed the desire, and it certainly was consistent with my own as the administrative leader, to keep our calendar as consistent as possible with the region. There are lots of factors that lead us to require that. Our shared services, our transportation, our students who attend BOCES facilities, our staff that has their own children who attend area schools. It's important that we do have consistency. When we look deeper at the Eid holiday specifically, and looked at the dates in which they fall this year, we really just began talking about the June 15th date. So when we looked at that, we noticed it's a Regents testing day, and that adds a further complication to our question because if New York State is going to administer Regents exams we can't not make those testing dates and testing sites available to our students. So that further complicated the issue. So we had to consider all these factors. And it really became clear to myself and the board that this should not be a local decision. There are so many different aspects of governance that we cry for local control. When we talk about how to evaluate our teachers, we cry for local control. When we talk about how to plan our budget, we cry for local control. For this issue, I don't believe, and I think the board is in agreement at least to an extent, that it shouldn't be a local decision to decide what holidays on the calendar will be recognized by a public school district. There shouldn't be grand discrepancies between holidays that are recognized and calendars that are approved in the Elwood School District, the Harborfield School District, the South Huntington School District, on and on and on, 124 school districts just on Long Island. There shouldn't be grand discrepancies between those calendars. So we're looking to the state to make a decision on what holidays should be reflected in a New York State operating calendar. So with this action, identifying the Eid celebration on June 15th of next year as a conference day, we're doing two things. We're making sure our students who celebrate the holiday will not be required to attend school. We are making sure that any staff member who celebrates the holiday will be afforded the opportunity to use that personal time that their contract affords. But we're also calling upon the state to make a decision. And we anticipate having that decision soon. We don't have it now. So the board is taking this action with a caveat that, unfortunately, if the state doesn't make an adjustment to the Regents testing schedule, we will have to revise our calendar and make Regents testing available. But assuming the state follows through on the actions taken by New York City Public and the actions that are now being taken by some local districts on Long Island, we will see an amendment to the Regents testing schedule, and we will be able to continue to keep it a superintendent's conference day. So what we are calling it is the one-year pilot of this is the calendar that we're recommending be adopted for 17-18, hoping for guidance from the New York State Education Department that this will be their practice moving forward. And we hope to have some documents in hand in the near future that will help guide the board in the future about what we do recognize as school closings. What this does also is it creates a calendar that has 180 instructional days and 4 conference days. It is important that we offer our teachers quality professional development. This calendar calls for 2 days before the students return, prior to Labor Day, where the teachers will be engaged in meaningful activities. It affords a day on Election Day to follow up some of those ventures, and it also keeps our schools closed while we are being used as a polling place. I wish we were not. We are. I don't feel comfortable having voters in the buildings while instruction is taking place. So we have conference days in place. And the June 15th conference day will afford us some good opportunity for faculty who do not celebrate and have religious observations to come in and do some of those end-of-year closing out items. So I think there's an advantage there. I'm hopeful that it keeps our instructional program more meaningful the days leading up to it, so that teachers don't feel the need to complete those end-of-the-year activities while school is in session. So I think it has a lot of benefit to our community in its entirety, those who celebrate the holiday, those who don't, our faculty and our staff. So I think it is a rational decision reached by the board that speaks to all constituents. So I appreciate your impending support of the motion coming. The other piece of the equation is, I think we need to do a better job of creating guidelines for religious observances. I think that all religions and belief systems represented in our district deserve to be accepted and identified by certain practices within the organization. So it is my intent to continue to move forward with creating superintendent's regulation to give teachers some basic guidance of how to best prepare for religious observances that take place within our community, so students never feel penalized for representing traditions, customs, religious practices within their households. So even the days leading up to religious events, the days following religious events, we need to be very careful about homework assignments of exams, things like that. So I will continue to work on that at the administrative level. I'll be very happy to share it with the board and the community when they're finalized. I will have help putting those together so that it's reflective of all needs. And I think that some questions raised by the community helped to shine a light on some areas that needed further attention. So I think we're in a good place.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from members of the board?
Thanks, Dr. Bassett. I think what you came up with after much strife all week long was a good compromise, which was great. I think that the New York State Board of Education, the State Ed Department does need to give us some clarity on future years. So we have a one-year kind of compromise, and we have to see what the future holds for it. Obviously, if they put a Regents on that day, that kind of throws a wrench in the whole thing. I don't foresee them doing that, given that the New York City public schools are off that day. But I think that also when Dr. Siddiqui came to the mic and spoke of cultural tolerance, giving a day off is not the whole picture. And I think that there are good things going on in the school to kind of reintroduce or look at different cultures, and I know that Dr. Toscano is taking on some of that and trying to bring it district-wide, and if we could have some kind of presentation on what's going on with that committee at some point this year, I think that would really be beneficial as well.
May I share something now?
Please.
I had been a participant in some of the activities taking place regarding cultural competency at Boyd, and Dr. Toscano and a team, and I know Dr. Siddiqui, masculine, participates in those events, has been a wonderful addition to the program of professional development for teachers. And while observing it and while interacting with both Dr. Toscano and the team and members of the Boyd faculty, the first thing that hit me is more of this needs to take place across the district on a K-12 basis. So we talked about ways to best initiate that, and we felt that the first step would be to form a committee. So Dr. Toscano and I just this week put out a letter to all faculty and staff, K-12, and said we are looking for active participation to help bring this cultural competency forward on a district-wide basis. The very first day that the email went out, we had 25 responses of volunteers who wanted to participate. Now let's keep in mind that this committee will meet after school, no compensation, and it will be a chore. We have work that needs to be done. And we had 25 members of our faculty and staff, the administration, the teaching staff, and our support staff volunteer to participate on the very first day. Since that time, our number has grown to near 40. We will now have to have a lottery system to decide who will be participating in our Cultural Competency Committee as the core committee. Everyone will participate in some aspect. So I really have to thank, and I will thank her directly, Dr. Toscano, for getting the ball rolling at Boyd, for all those from the community and from the faculty who helped continue the momentum. And now I think that we're in a jumping off place where a lot of the important discussions that have taken place within Boyd will extend to our full community. And I look forward to providing the board and community with a full report of the initiatives that they've taken on.
Thank you.
Great. And any other comments or questions from the board?
I just want to recognize the Elwood community as a whole. Growing up here, buying a home here, you get to witness the cultural diversity in Elwood, and given the times and the nature of the country in which we live in, it's wonderful to see a diverse group of people in such a small community where, I'm trying to think how many altogether, maybe 800 students, and we all together find a way to rally around each other's religious beliefs, moral beliefs. It's just a testament of what the Elwood community is. I just want to congratulate everyone in Elwood as a community, and I appreciate the board doing what we did today. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions or comments? Anything else in terms of discussion items, Dr. Bass? Okay. With that, we'll, in non-sequential order, alphabetically, move from item J to I, and have our presentations for tonight, which specifically is an update on our high school curriculum selection guide and course program proposals.
And to lead us in that discussion, I would like to call upon our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Mrs. Maureen Hull. Thank you, Mrs. Hull.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Glasser. This evening, I'm joined by our high school principal, Ms. Brzezinski, and Director of Math, Science, and Technology, Mrs. Kelly Gorman, in presenting to you enhancements that we would like to propose for John Glenn High School's academic program. As we were working on preparing the enhancements for the high school, there was a theme around all of our conversations and our work, and that was about opportunities. We believe that creating a rich program for students will give them the most opportunities possible while they are in high school, but also it's how we're going to create the opportunities for students to be able to pursue what they want to pursue, to go to the colleges they want to be attending, and to go into the career fields that interest them. So as we look at our overall program, we try to keep that as our overarching goal. We had some specific objectives that came up repeatedly as we were working since early October on this initiative. One of the big ones is to grow our program in STEM and have increased opportunities for students to engage in engineering and science and technology coursework. We also want to continue to strengthen and build the number of students who achieve a Regents diploma. And we know that a critical part of that is having access to a third-year course for math and science. We also wanted to continue to strengthen our open enrollment program, continue the momentum that we've achieved, and to do that, we need to continue to look at some course offerings for students. The next thing we wanted to do is follow up on some things that we've communicated to the board, and that's the capstone diploma program and the seal of biliteracy for students who are proficient in 2 languages. And another thing that we really wanted to do is just continue to revise the format of the course selection guide, because that's the instrument that our students use to figure out what they're going to study. And so we actually spent quite a bit of time reformatting that document, and that'll actually be going home to the board in a weekly update, and then we anticipate releasing it live on the website very soon. So just to give you a little background of the steps that were involved this year as we were preparing these program proposals, this really became very serious work beginning back in October. We really all met together, Mrs. Kelly Gorman, Mrs. Fine, Mrs. Brzezinski, Mr. Cole, Mr. Coletti, Mrs. Wilkinson. We all came to discuss many different aspects. Each time any of us were meeting as a team, there were always related conversations that we needed to have with faculty. And that was really carried out throughout the time through department meetings, through guidance meetings, and through one-to-one teacher meetings. Because we needed to make sure that we were bringing the faculty's knowledge and expertise into the conversation. And I think one of the things that we really wanted to make sure we built in was a focus on student needs. And that might mean looking at sequences that we offer. So are we offering the next level course for a student? Are we making sure that students have access to the most rigorous coursework possible? And are we differentiating that to meet the different needs of students so that depending on the type of program that they're in, there's a rigorous course for that student, a course that will challenge them. So together we have designed some program enhancements that we've divided up into some areas. And I actually would like to invite Mrs. Kelly Gorman and then Mrs. Brzezinski to share with us the specific courses that we've been discussing.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to share the proposed STEM courses with you for the 17-18 school year. It's a little hard to see, but our college algebra course is designed for the college-bound senior. It can count as the required 3rd math credit that is required for a Regents diploma. It is also my hope and expectation that it will increase the number of students who take a 4th year of math while in high school. There's a great amount of data that shows that students who take 4 years of math while they're in high school are better prepared for college and career coursework, and so this is, like Mrs. Hull said, offering another avenue for those students who maybe do not want to take a calculus course. The course will prepare students who may be required to take a placement exam, those particularly that apply to go to Suffolk or Nassau Community College. It will also look at those exam requirements and prepare them to sit for those exams. The second item listed is physical science, and this is really just a replacement of what used to be our unified science course. The course will study fundamental concepts of chemistry and physics. It is designed for students who maybe aren't ready to challenge the Regents level chemistry or physics course, but who want to have that experience in the physical sciences before they graduate high school. We also know that the new New York State science standards are going to ask that students have an experience in physical science while they're in high school. So we are hoping that by putting this course in now, we are getting a little bit ahead of what we see coming in the future. The other item that came out of our discussions is that one thing we would like to use this course for is for students, our E&L students who are still developing and acquiring English language skills. We are going to offer them this opportunity to take this course ahead of Earth Science or Living Environment, so that they have an additional year to really build their English language before they're in a Regents course that's required, where there's a required Regents at the end of the year that they have to sit for. Our World of Technology course that we are proposing. The concept of the course is to provide students with a hands-on experience in real-world applications of math and science. Our students will also learn about the engineering design process in this course. Since there is a focus on math and science, the state allows the district to grant a local credit in math or science. And again, that can count for that third year of math or science that's required for a Regents diploma. So again, we're looking to expand opportunities for our students here in Elwood. And the last item in my courses is the VEX Robotics 2. This past year, we offered VEX Robotics 1. We had a number of students that were very interested in the program, and so this is just looking to expand on that. Brzezinski.
Good evening again. So it is my pleasure to share with you some of the additional program enhancements that we would like to offer to our students for the 2017-18 school year and beyond. I must say before I get into the exact coursework that Keisha Folks was really tremendously helpful in getting our course guide to look the way it looks. It's really a very Herculean task to go through all the course offerings and the various disciplines and put them in an order that, you know, makes sense to the layperson, because there's a lot to offer at the high school. And it's a pretty Herculean task, and I commend her for that. And it was a synergistic effort by a lot of people to look at what we're offering from art, music, math, all the disciplines. Where do the students start, where do they end? We had our 8th grade orientation last week, and the theme was really piggybacking off a focused future is to begin with the end in mind. And we have to know where our students are going and build courses to help them get there. And that is our true intent when we offer these programs. So again, a lot of work goes into this, a lot of thought, and I'm really proud to see that we are continuing to broaden our AP course offerings to all disciplines, and we're excited to offer the next level of study in the area of music with AP Music Theory. Thanks to the hard work of Mrs. Henson, who's been exploring what this course can do for our students. This course is recommended for students who are interested in exploring deeper levels of music composition or may be considering a music or music-related career. This course presents concepts of theory, sight singing, ear training, music dictation, composition, and computer music notation. Instrumental and choral writing methods will be taught and practiced in the form of student compositions, and the students will sit for an advanced placement exam in May. We thought this really was a natural fit and an extension of our open enrollment philosophy and to expand our AP program offerings. So, additionally, as we discussed at the last board meeting, AP seminar, which we're really excited to bring. This is a rigorous foundational research-based course in the first, and is the first in the AP Capstone series. Students will use an inquiry framework. They will get practice reading and analyzing articles, research studies, foundational literary and philosophical texts, listening to and viewing speeches, broadcasts, personal accounts, and the like. Students will learn to synthesize information, deliver oral and visual presentations, both individually and as a group. And they too can take this AP capstone seminar in 10th grade, 11th grade, or 12th grade, and we're really excited to bring this program. American Sign Language 4. The American Sign Language program in the high school continues to grow. Our students continue to express interest in pursuing the next level of study. Level 3, which is where we end at the high school currently, is preparing our students for checkpoint B level. So moving to this level 4 would give students an opportunity to demonstrate proficiency at checkpoint C level. And as we mentioned at the curriculum committee, for those of you who were there, this is really important for students who are pursuing the seal of biliteracy distinction. So adding this level 4 in sign language will help them get to that level. And we do encourage our students to take 4 years of language so that they stay current in the language and are better prepared for the college years, as most colleges require first-year students to study a language. In that same vein, we offer to you Conversational Spanish 2. This program enhancement affords our rising junior and seniors the opportunity to continue with the language for those who may not want to pursue the advanced placement track. Advanced placement course places heavy emphasis on grammar and being literate in the language, whereby this course focuses mostly on effective spoken and written communication. Students will be afforded the opportunity to delve more deeply into working with and honing their conversational skills. Similarly, offering this course would be in alignment with our goal of providing students with the opportunity to continue their study of the language in order to perform as the level checkpoint C if they were to pursue the seal of biliteracy. So again, we encourage our students to continue with the language and stay current with the language to be better prepared for college. The seal of biliteracy. This is definitely another exciting venture that we are on at the high school, taking on some really, really great stuff this year. This is a way to formally recognize students' proficiency and achievement in English and languages other than English. It is issued, students who will get the seal of biliteracy, it is issued to recognize our high school graduates who have attained high level of proficiency in listening, reading, speaking, and writing in English and one or more languages. Students who wish to pursue this distinction must submit an application to their guidance counselor and the Seal of Biliteracy Committee, which I recently learned I'm a part of, along with many other members of district administration and high school staff. So, and anyway, so they're going to submit this wonderful application, and we, the members of the committee, will review why they wish to pursue and demonstrate that they are on pace to achieve checkpoint C. The committee will review their application, and then the students will have to complete and present a project in both English and the target language. So they'll research something, and they will create a project, and they will present it to the committee. The length and the criteria of that project is going to be somewhere comparable to like a 10-page paper-like presentation. Students, in order to earn the seal of biliteracy, have to earn a total of 6 points using the courses that are available to them now and their performance on the various assessments at checkpoint C level and or the English regions. And that's why offering level 4 to our students and giving them the opportunity to gain the information that they need to demonstrate proficiency at that level 4 is pretty important to this venture as well. These points can be obtained in a variety of ways as outlined by the New York State Seal of Biliteracy. That's about a 35-page document if you would like to peruse that. And we're just really excited to bring this opportunity to our students. At a recent interest meeting on Long Island, basically, California was the first state to initiate this, and it's really gaining national momentum. 9 states have accepted this and adopted the seal of biliteracy, but in New York State was just new to this around 2012. But 25 schools showed up to this interest meeting in the surrounding area. So schools really are looking to bring this opportunity to their students as well. So we're happy to be a part of that group. So these are just the enhancements to an already robust program and diverse program that we offer at the high school. And it's really a collaborative effort in terms of which courses of study students will select. We started to share our program with incoming ninth graders last week. Just so you know, right after midterms are over, classroom teachers will get up in front of their classes. So envision an English 9 teacher saying, okay guys, you're ready to begin selecting your courses for next year. You're in English 9, here are some choices for next year. English 10 honors, English, the AP capstone. They will describe the courses to the students and they will promote the courses in their department. Following that, our counselors will then come into the classroom, visit with the students, talk about the courses, but the students' interests. Where are you looking to go and how do you create a schedule that best matches your goals? The counselors will be visiting the classes the week of February 6th. They will give the students 2 course request sheets, and they will basically go through it, English, social studies, math, science, and have the students select which course they want to take. The counselors will take one of them so that they have it with them. The other is to go home. Go home and review with your parents. The parents should look through the course guide, look at the classes that the students select, consult, guide their student, and sign that course request form, bring it back to the counselors. The counselors will then begin to input that data, and that's how we begin to say, wow, 30 kids want to take, the AP Music Theory. We need a section, and thus the scheduling process begins. So in June, your child should receive basically a course request, a confirmation. These are the courses that you've requested, these are the courses that you're running, and then by August, they'll have their final schedule available to them through the portal. So I always say that in September, the kids go to their classes, the bell rings, and then A day, B day, and then the next week or so, we start planning for the following year. And really our ultimate goal is to provide opportunities for all of our students to reach their maximum potential. And I've enjoyed this rich and rewarding work with my colleagues, and I'm glad that it's pretty much almost over. So thank you very much.
The board's course proposals that we are bringing forward, one of the things we would like to do is hold an informational evening for parents on the capstone diploma and the seal of biliteracy. And we are already working with guidance counselors to make sure that they're very aware of how the system works so that they can carefully explain it to students who may have questions about it. As Mrs. Brzezinski mentioned, we're looking for the main placement for AP Seminar to be in the 10th grade as an option for students between 10 Regents level, 10 English honors, or the seminar. It's so well grounded in Common Core English language arts skills that it is an excellent preparation for the 11th grade. But we also would have the opportunity for 11th and 12th graders. Just a few other things I'd just like to mention about the course guide that you'll see some enhancements. We took some things that are in the handbook to make sure that they're in the course guide. We added information on college entrance exams so that students can have right at their fingertips some things about the SAT and the ACT. We added to the advanced placement program description information about taking an SAT subject test. We also made sure that after every AP course offering, we mentioned that students may wish to register for the SAT subject test, so that students are ready to take it at the time that they're taking the class, and the information is right there, easier for them. We did other things such as making sure courses that are NCAA approved are clearly marked for students. We also put together a page on dual enrollment opportunities, and we listed there some information about the Suffolk Excelsior program, where students in some technology courses can earn both high school credit and credit at Suffolk if they pay the registration fee and meet the requirement. We also have the St. John's College Advantage program in Spanish and English and Italian. And yes, to follow up something on the curriculum committee, we do have some students taking advantage of that this year as well. So we just thought having a central place at the beginning of the course guide will just help students to be aware and parents of all the many different opportunities and have a little bit more information. And I just want to echo Ms. Brzezinski and thanking my assistant, Ms. Fowkes, who really spent so much time on creating a course guide that really everything about it is that students can open it, easily find what they need to find, and then have the information they need there. And then also checking the accuracy of the many, many courses that we offer. And honestly, we've begun our plans for the following year as well, for 18-19. Because there's so many great ideas that get generated about what would be a great experience for students. But we want to be very mindful of our physical environment. For almost everything we're talking about, it's really about student choice. So as students select to run a certain course, another course may not run, or there'll be fewer sections of that course because now there's this other course running. So we really try to be aware of that. Also, without getting into the depth of it, I can tell you that for everything that we've proposed, we already discussed where would it fall in a student's schedule, what year. What else does that student have to take that in that grade level? So would this make sense in their schedule? So we really did try to look at all the pieces that we would bring to you, proposals that could be successful. So that concludes our presentation on proposed program enhancements.
If I may just offer a quick comment before we open up to the board for questions. I want to commend the secondary administration and the curriculum team for putting together enhancements and proposals that address the needs of the very varied learners we have at John Glenn High School. What strikes me most about the modifications that are being proposed is that, forgive me, but there's something for everyone. When we look at all the different varied ability levels, interest levels, needs of our students, you took a targeted focus on making sure that programs are being put in place to support all students. There is no over-focus on our top performers, nor of students who require remediation and support. There is truly something for everyone to enhance the program that we'll be offering next year. I'm hopeful for the board's support, and I appreciate the hard work that you all put into your proposals.
Thank you.
Excellent. With that, I'll open up to the board. Any questions, comments? It can't be curriculum without zoning purposes.
I know. Well, we had a presentation on the capstone already, and that's on tape for those of you listening at home. So I think that if people have a lot of questions about that, they can certainly refer to that meeting. It's sort of the AP answer for an international baccalaureate diploma, correct? So I think it's a great idea to have a parent meeting about that, because we spent a whole curriculum committee meeting explaining what capstone was and explaining the biliteracy certificate, because there's a lot that goes into that. And people, it's not just English speakers that speak another language, it's if you come in speaking another language and then you learn to speak English. So it's really a diverse certification, and I'm so glad that you're offering a parent meeting about that, because it takes up a lot of time. I love the fact that you are offering this physical science class to this ENL population, because putting a child that speaks no English at all in a Regents Earth Science class is absurd. I mean, they don't understand what's going on. So to give them a year to try to get some proficiency in English before they take a Regents level class, I think makes so much sense, and I commend you for doing that. The one thing that I want to ask about is that, you know, some of the teachers go around and they recruit kids for their class, to take the class the next year, like, oh, you should take my AP Sci class, or oh, you know, you would be great in whatever. And sometimes the kids just looking at the course guide don't really know how much work is involved in the class, how much reading they'll have to do, what's the summer assignment like, and those kind of things really influence whether a student signs up for a class. A lot of times they hear it by word of mouth, oh, don't take that, or definitely take that, or things like that. But I'm wondering if we could have and I'm just throwing this out there, some kind of maybe course offerings, fair, after school, something that will allow the student to have a one-on-one with the teachers to say, is this really right for me? Other than asking their other students, and some of them may not be the same kind of student they are. So having some discussion with the person who teaches it. Is there anything that we could do instead of reading a course guide?
Well, I think it's a really great suggestion, and it's something that we have been thinking about, even revamping grade 8 orientation to make it more like an open house, to really demonstrate and illustrate for the community the programs that we offer. The best person to sell it is the teacher that's teaching the course. We can't always guarantee that a specific teacher is teaching a course, although with AP classes, you need to be College Board certified, and we have a better idea of who's teaching that early on in the year. But departmentally, we all get together. So if you're in the Social Studies department and you have AP US, the Global 10 teacher or the AP US teacher is getting up and talking about what the class is like, or what the expectations are, the reading and writing that goes into it, the assessments. So that's just one way that we try to get it out there, but I definitely think a curriculum fair or an open house kind of forum would be a nice way to enhance that.
Especially if you're enhancing the program so much. It used to be that when you were in AP Bio, you were taking AP Chem, so the Chem teacher came in. But now there's so many things you could take. You don't have to go in this sequence because that's the only thing we offer. So how do we know about these? How do the kids know about the other classes and what's offered, other than looking at the guide?
I can also echo, I do think that's a great idea. Some of the things, though, aside from the department meeting is, like I sat with the guidance counselors and we went through, for this student, what might their pathway look like now. We talked about some of the different options, who after meeting with the math department, do we think are the prime candidates to enroll in this course? So they are a little bit better prepared before they go in and meet with students and feel a little more confident, particularly with new courses that we're offering. So we did do that as well.
Thanks so much. I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a great year.
I'll make a suggestion. I went to St. Joseph's College, and every semester, 2 weeks before the semester was ending, they would do a demo day. So there would be like a mock of 20 or 30 different classes. You would take the day, you would go for 15, 20-minute intervals to each class, and if there was a forensic class, they do like a 15, 20-minute synopsis of what the class would be for the semester. They leave there, go to the next one, so on and so forth, and it kind of give an understanding what the rigor was, what the course was, who the teacher was, and afterwards there was a panel of previous students that would give their input on what the class offered, who the teacher was, the class size, and all that stuff. So maybe food for thought could be something that could benefit you guys. Thank you.
And I'm going to elaborate on that, being part of the technology committee, so I'm going to suggest that maybe we can do something on a virtual level where we can have it in a library where kids can look, because I have to elaborate, having students, as Julia does, they sign up for an AP class, and then in the summer, they're out there on the athletic field, and somebody says, you don't want to take that class, it's got a lot of reading, you don't want to do this. So I really think that we also have to look, Mr. Kuroda had spoke one day about creating the profile and having our children really be cognizant of the direction that they want to go. Like you said, look at the ends and work backwards. And I know from my own children, they'll take a class because a teacher promoted it or it just looks really interesting. And midway through, they realize, does that really align with my goals of where I want to go? Not that it's not a fantastic opportunity, and not that we just want high school to be, a direct roadway to college. We want them to be able to explore other options that they may not have initially expressed an interest for. But I just think that needs to be part of the bigger component. My final question, I'm sorry if I keep going on, is when you were talking about after in the midterms, they're going into the classrooms, were you specifically talking like in English, they're going to be talking about the the vertical movement in English, and then you're going to go to history, and then it's going to be, or is it just in the English class? I think I need a clarification on that.
So this year, I believe it's social studies. So we rotate English or social studies, since every student has to take 4 years of English and social studies. So the First things first, the teachers of each content area will get up, at some point, say February 1st or 2nd, and just talk to the students about the course offerings in the department. So if you're in chemistry, the teacher might say, well, next year you might want to try physics, you might want to try EP physics, you might want to try this, and they'll go through the course offerings that are available to students for the subsequent school year. Then the counselors come in and basically do more of the overview. Where are you going? What are your career goals? Think about who you are as a learner. Challenge yourself, but don't overextend yourself. So don't take every EP course. Maybe take one or two. And it's specific for the various grade levels. So their conversation's going to be very different for a 9th grade group than it would be for a junior group. And the counselors are going into, I believe it's the social studies classes, and they will basically take a look at the course request form and start off with, English. Okay, you guys are in this group. Here are the courses that are offered. Here are some things to think about. Okay, based on that very preliminary information, circle which course you want to take for next year. Again, then they're ready to go home and have conversation with their parents, with their friends. They might ask the teacher, hey, and I would encourage you to speak with your children about the courses that they're taking and say, are you on the fence? Ask your teacher, what do you think? And again, we have open enrollment, and we never want to put a barrier for a child to take the next challenging class, but they also need to have a good indication of what that class looks like, so that you don't have like any sort of attrition over the summer, like, I don't want to do this. But your suggestions are definitely worthy, and it's the direction that I want to go in. I would like a video kind of compilation by department accessible on the website. Please don't commit me to that 1 year from now, but it's somewhere. We're moving in that direction. I've already commissioned a group of students to begin videotaping and taking footage of like a day in the life of John Glenn, so that people get more of a visual understanding of what the high school has to offer. So,
one last thing, you had, you're sending home the course, what they signed up for. Are you also sending, in addition to that, forgive me if I didn't hear, the course selection book in conjunction with it, so that as they look at what they pick, the parent can say, they can look through and see.
It's online.
It's online, okay, so we'll send me a note that says, this is what.
And I think Mrs. Brzezinski mentioned she wants to do a school messenger also.
Perfect,
To make sure that all the parents are aware.
February 10th. The report cards are posted to the portal. Remember, check course offerings.
Thank you.
This all sounds like a huge undertaking, amazing presentation, thank you. I'm very interested in seeing what the future holds.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for your support. It's greatly appreciated.
Great, excellent work. Great to see the continued expansion, both in terms of breadth and depth. And as Dr. Placer eloquently said, you're definitely addressing all students in a very inclusive way. So great work. With that, I'd like to move to financial matters, item K. Can I get a motion to recommend the board acknowledge receipt for audit of the following? A, treasurer's report for the months ended November 30th, 2016 and December 30th, 2016. B, revenue reports through November 30th, 2016 and December 31st, 2016. Cash flow reports for general funds for the months of November and December 2016. Budget status reports through November 30th and December 31st, 2016. Trial balance reports through December 31st, 2016. Executive summary through December 31st, 2016. Extra classroom reports for the quarter ended December 31st, 2016. School lunch fund report for the months of November and December 2016. And finally, claims auditor reports for the months of October and November 2016. Can I have a motion? Motion by Mrs. Freed, seconded by Mrs. Mamalito. All in favor? 5-0. Can I have a motion to recommend the board approve the budget transfers? Motion by Mrs. Mamalito, second by Mrs. Freed. All in favor? 5-0. In terms of action items, we have a number of action items today. The first thing I would like to do is to take action item 1, the personnel agenda, with the following redaction to P7A1, the removal of the language around proration. With that clarification, can I see a motion to approve action item 1, personnel agenda? Motion by Mrs. Mamalito, seconded by Mrs. Weiss. All in favor? 5-0.
comment?
Yes, please.
For the community president, what the board just did was take action to probationarily appoint a high school principal. When I was hired as superintendent, it was explained to me that we had an interim principal serving as our leader at John Glenn High School, and the board charged me with finding a dynamic educational leader who had extensive experience as a school building leader, as a principal or an assistant principal, an extensive and valuable and varied teaching background, someone who was dynamic and caring, someone who was invested in the school community, someone who had great vision, great leadership skills, and someone who would really take John Glenn High School to the next level of excellence. So I searched far and wide for that individual and found her sitting in the principal's office at John Glenn High School. So what the board has just taken action to do is to probationarily appoint Mrs. Brzezinski as the principal of John Glenn High School. So the interim status assigned to her name is effectively expiring at midnight tonight, and I wish you congratulations, Mrs. Brzezinski.
May I?
Please.
I would be remiss,
I would be remiss if I did not thank Dr. Bossert and the board for appointing me officially to this position. I have to say, when you interview in a school district or at a school district looking for a job, and I was 3 years ago as the assistant principal, not only are they interviewing you, but you are interviewing them. And I felt instantly on the ride here to Elwood, viscerally, I was like, I didn't know where you all were on the map prior to coming here. And I said, this feels like such a great place. For those of you who were on the board that hired me as the assistant principal, it was somewhat of 5 rounds of very grueling interview process. And I said, holy moly, what are they interviewing me for, principal? I was like, I've been an assistant principal for 6 years. But it was representative of the high expectations that Elwood has really demonstrated to me from the onset through the interview process and continues to demonstrate. So I was really, really ecstatic when I became the assistant principal at the high school and joined an incredible team. I learned so much from Dr. Ruck and my colleagues across the district, starting with Ms. Milan at Harley and Dr. Toscano at Boyd and Mrs. Valley and Dr. Gigante at the middle school, and of course the directors, Ms. Kelly Gorman, Mr. Shanahan, Ms. Wilkinson, who am I missing, Mrs. Fine. Like, we really have a great team here. I've worked in 3 other districts on Long Island. My friends are administrators. When I tell them the synergy that we have here, it's like they don't believe it. And I felt it from the time I came here. Mr. Scordo said you were joining an incredible team, and I feel that way. So at the administrative level, I just applaud you for selecting fine candidates and continuing that with Mrs. Hall and Dr. Bossert. I continue to learn each and every day. And what I always find myself so amazed at is everybody's dedicated to doing what's in the best interest of every single student here in Elwood. To add to that, the students are so remarkable, and they are just reflective of the parents in the community. I love them all like they're my own, and this is a second home to me. And so I also have to thank my husband, who's home with my children, who I basically FaceTimed today, said hi, because behind, I have to say this, every wonderful Carissa is a James at home. So,
I agree.
So I thank you very much. I am humble and honored to continue to serve the students, staff, and families of the John Glenn community. Thank you.
Congratulations. With the approval of the personnel agenda, I'd like to move to get a motion to take the rest of the action items in aggregate, but with the following clarifications. Action item 3 should read, recommend the board approve the board operating procedures as draft. Item 5 should read, recommend the board adopt the calendar for 2017-18 as modified. Those modifications are listed in the back on the copies available for our audience. Item 6, there needs to be a modification to a rate of 10.50 for the Inspector of Elections. I believe those are all the modifications, correct? So with those modifications, can I have a motion for action items 2 through 7? Inclusive, sorry.
I know, having spoken to the board member previously, that you need to remove item 4 from that consent agenda for a separate vote.
I appreciate the clarification. I will take a motion for action items 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7 as modified by my granular outline prior, not including number 4. Motion by Mrs. Weiss, seconded by Mrs. Mamalito. All in favor? All in favor?
Oh, I'm sorry.
5-0. Having now approved all but item 4, can I get a motion to approve action item number 4, recommend the board approve the following resolution? Do I need to read said resolution? Whereas resolution, which reads as follows, whereas section 458-B, subdivision 2, paragraphs A and B of the real property tax law of the state of New York, in quotes RPTL, allows the Elwood Union Free School District to provide tax exemptions to certain qualified owners of qualified residential real property as defined by section 458-B, and whereas it is in the best interest of the community to provide such relief to the Cold War veterans of the district, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Elwood Union Free School District elects to participate in the exemptions of RPTL section 458-B, subdivision 2, paragraphs A and B. Be it further resolved that pursuant to RPTL 458-B, subdivision 2, paragraph A, subparagraph I, the board adopts the 10% exception, which amount shall not exceed the statutory basic maximum set forth therein. And be it further resolved that pursuant to RPTL 458-B, subdivision 2, paragraph B, the board adopts the exemption relating to service-connected disabilities, which amount shall not exceed the statutory basic maximum set forth therein. Having gone through that, and having previously reviewed this at a prior meeting, can I have a motion to recommend the board approve resolution as outlined in item 4 in action items? Motion by Mrs. Mamalito, second by Mr. Tomio. All in favor? 5-0. With that, are there any items not listed on the agenda or communications that we need to cover, Dr. Bosser? Any other regulations, dashes, dots, A's, B's, or I's that anyone would like to cover? Seeing none, I will open up for our second residents' remarks. Remarks are limited to items voted on and/or discussed at this business meeting. Persons wishing to speak should identify themselves and any organization they represent at the meeting. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and may not exceed 3 minutes, consistent with Board Policy 2351. Public discussion of matters relating to staff, students, or others in which their reputations, privacy, or right to due process could be in some way violated, strictly prohibited. Do I have any second residents' remarks? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adjourn the Elwood Union Free School District regular business meeting of January 26th? Motion by Mr. Tomio, second by Mrs. Weiss. All in favor? 5-0. Have a wonderful evening.